Hi guys, brief forward on two things. This is Keychi FIM. She just put a Christmas special out on, well, of all things, Christmas the other day. I myself, British Ninja, Keychi, Tyndeg, and so many more are in it, including Anthony C. You know what, I'd be here all day including everyone that was in there, so please just go give it a look after you're done watching this video. Also, before we get going, this is Event Horizon. He's not doing so good right now. There's a link to his Patreon down below. He ran into some really tough spots IRL right now on Christmas. Look, it's kinda urgent. If you can't throw him any money, or even if you don't like his content, maybe click on some of his videos, leave them up for a little bit of watch time or something. He really could use some help. And I think he's really cool despite butting heads with him every now and again. Also, How Not to Brony 61, it's gonna be really choice. No spoilers, but shit's gonna go down. Keep your eyes peeled on Pastel Pro's channel. There's gonna be something over there soon, I think. Godspeed. Hi guys, this is FNGR, and oh boy, do I have some stories for you today. So we're doing a terrible twofer. Scratch that, we're doing a triple threat. Before we begin, this is Midnight Chimes. Perhaps. No, not perhaps. Midnight Chimes is the last goddamn brony I can stomach to watch without being tapped on the shoulder or having some kind of obligation to a friend. His content is something I hold near and dear to my heart.
A short while ago, I had to give a detailed explanation to a member of the Void of what should have been a simple statement, that I Love Kim Possible a Lot is not a monster or a slave driver or any of the other sensationalist gibberish claims that trolls have made against her.
Dear Midnight, do you feel I took the fuck out of KP for Kex? You're in limbo with me. I've more than made myself as well as my opinions available to you. And if anyone's response back is, well, FNGR, you're not the center of the universe. And that's fair. But since I got called out in this video, I thought I'd respond. The writer's name on the Horse News article is Twifag. It's an alias of Corpulent Brony. I might think very little of Corpulent Brony, but his articles on Fallen Wish, and then on KP, weren't meant for mirth. Corpulent Brony's sense of humor sucks. The idea that this article or the Down with the KP movement was just for lols is horseshit. It was not. You've had ample opportunity in Limbo to talk to people who have and still work for KP, and judging by this video, you didn't, Midnight.
There is not much room for misinterpretation in those words, yet they have either been totally misconstrued or fallen on deaf ears time and time again. Why is it that this message has been so hard to swallow, even after the likes of Lily Pete and Anthony C deconstructed the nonsense long ago?
I'm sorry again. You've never, to my face, professed any of this. I think you're forgetting my self-made Event Horizon Toon Critic and British Ninja all took on Anthony C to task for that hatchet job he pulled. Great guy, by the way. But once again, we're not a pack of trolls. You seem to be creatively ignoring that, even though you essentially have access to these people, more or less. And you are on some serious bullshit.
Well, the reasons, which are complex, have a lot to do with the way the community is structured, and now I intend to get to the bottom of the matter once and for all.
Buckle up, buckaroo, it's gonna be a wild ride.
If you weren't aware, there is an underbelly to the MLP analysis community comprised of various clubs, organisations, or alliances for content creators like myself. They're basically like when you were a kid and you had a tent or a treehouse with a secret password. Ostensibly they are meant to aid with collaborative projects, though in reality they've become something of a circle jerk.
Midnight, why is it the underbelly of the analysis community? Are you meaning to tell me that the Patrick Rowberries, the AJ the Autistic Ponies, the Rail Ponies, the Robin 0928s are the creme de la creme? Either the people who couldn't get in or the people who couldn't stay in or rise to the occasion. I'm not saying you don't have the right to call it the underbelly. I'm asking you really, what's your reasoning? As for exclusion, the tree fort if you will, this goes back to the birth of the analysis community. The analysis rift included such people as DigiBro, Tommy Oliver, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, Inkrose, Josh Scorcher, etc, etc.
It's not all bad. As I mentioned, I'm in the Skype chat for the Void Outpost, one of the smaller groups, and one of my upcoming videos in fact came about directly as a result of a conversation in that room. But mostly they serve as a means for the community to stroke its own ego.
Now I'm not about to say what Midnight said here isn't without merit. The Secret Rift is the Just Us League, and in the past I've offered him a spot in that league, pending other mod approval. That offer still stands.
Something this fandom likes to do a lot. Now, there's nothing essentially wrong with that in principle, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't like to stroke my own ego from time to time. However, it does become a problem when it obstructs proper discourse from taking place. I bring this up because in Horse Famous, Lily Pete cited the Rift as being central to the smear campaign against KP, but neglected to clearly specify which Rift she was talking about.
The Secret Rift hasn't obstructed proper discourse. The head mods of the room have sat down with the Looney Turtle at least twice, and opted to put a healthy distance between the two. As for Jerry blaming the Rift, well, the Analysis Rift, the one under a male alicorn back in the day, was where I first learned that KP was a dirtbag. The Secret Rift is a series of varied individuals, but I feel it would be safe to say that she would not be voted into the Secret Rift.
He said, she said, with responsibility intact, then you are wrong and need to go back to internet school.
And so the mods of the Secret Rift seized on it as a chance to one-up themselves in their ongoing feud with the Second Opinion's Rift Cafe.
Last I heard officially from the Looney Turtle, the person who's running the Rift Cafe at the time of this video, the Rift Cafe is run by Unova Brony. The Secret Rift is run by Secret Jammer and has been so for 3 years. There seems to be a turnover the top of the Rift Cafe. I won't speculate why, at least here.
In the ensuing crossfire, the whole message of the video was lost. I should explain that the Secret Rift diverged from the Rift Cafe some time ago and severed all ties. The exact details of how this came about are still being debated to this day, and I'm not qualified to comment on that, nor do I have any interest in doing so. All you need to know is that ever since they've been taking every opportunity to drag the Rift Cafe's name through the mud.
This is absolutely true. We at the Secret Rift have been complete cunts to the Rift Cafe. As for dragging their name through the mud, one might assume you feel the action is undeserved. I'm almost positive I've explained the situation to you either in a video or firsthand, but since you don't care, I won't bother wasting my breath.
It's precisely the kind of kids' treehouse mentality I mentioned earlier.
You're just basically being a lazy, incompetent asshole. But hey, it's the Rift Cafe tradition.
I told him that we wanted nothing to do with the old Rift, that's why we separated in the first place, and we promptly kicked him out the door.
The old Rift is a room of sub 1,000 channels trying to get bigger, while having a cynical hatred for more popular channels.
Lily Pete later clarified she was referring to the Secret Rift, then withdrew the clarification, no doubt realising that this had become a trivial distraction from something far more important. But by that stage, British Ninja, now an ex-mod, had already made a video promoting and simultaneously deflecting all responsibility away from the Secret Rift, while having the audacity to call himself a neutral party.
If I may explain for our dear Jeffrey, British Ninja is a total 110% starfucker. At the time of this video, he had access to Jerry Pete's Patreon chat. I know because I paid his way in. Though I could swear you knew this. But oh well. What Ninja meant by neutral party, he means is that he was prepared to go with whatever side gave him the best deal. If old Jer would have tossed Ninja a premium spot in Jerry's videos, his ass would have been over there, just like how he's in the domain chat with Toon Critic today. So in short, neutral in Ninja means British Ninja first. Which I guess sure that does really sound retarded when you say it out loud, but then again this is the same person who defended What About Discord, so there you go.
Stroking your own ego is one thing, however after a certain point it starts to reek of insecurity. I'm not saying those mods are insecure necessarily, hell I consider myself on good terms with some of them and I'm sure their quality control is every bit as stringent as they claim it to be, but that is how it can come across at times. Anyway, if you think all this is tedious and irrelevant, then yes, it is. That's the point.
And then you had to get Manga Common's level of cute here. Damn it, man, I'm trying to pick a fight. Keychi FIM once said that we're the new horseshoe crew of the Brony fandom, Digi's old gang of elitist pricks. We are self-aware. Yes, we are a bunch of uppity douchebags. I wasn't aware that we were ever denying this.
Casual observers don't even know what the Rift is, but what happened with KP on the other hand is serious.
I think many people see me as, or let's say my internet persona, as a bubbly, fun fangirl, and they forget that life and events like this happen to everyone. I'm not as invincible as I thought I was. I'm just a person.
We often forget with celebrities that underneath the corporate persona is a real vulnerable individual. Whatever mistakes KP made, she did not deserve a lynch mob of trolls coming after her, and the fact that that ever happened is frankly sickening.
The revisionist history that Midnight Chimes is trying to respin is thus: trolls, unjustified, bored one day, got up and hit KP. That's the Oblivion Fall version of that. I would like to remind most people on Dr. Wolf's Team Fortress Anarchy team, the vast majority of the people on that project didn't want KP there. And you don't have to take my word for it. Jerry said so, and claimed that Scorcher had confirmed it to Jerry in his video Glass of Water Discord Princess. The fact Midnight here is citing Jerry and having this inconsistency means that you're literally talking out both sides of your ass. Jerry would be proud, Midnight.
If you're sat there now ready with the Rachel is a scummy human being argument, then you are coming at this from the wrong angle. The fact is, the movement against I Love Kim Possible a Lot was rotten from its core. Hell, those behind AnonKPLeaks have all but admitted they were making most of it up for attention. This was never a matter of morals or values.
It stopped being about, helping her team and helping her improve and, getting all our stories out there, and it more or less devolved into us basically just stirring up trouble for the sake of having fun.
Let me play a clip of Event Horizon that was made in response to Oblivion Fall.
You are a crooked liar, but even you can't mask the literal objective reality of this situation.
Not until I started hearing stories about a little project called Fluttershy's Baby. This was in a Skype group filled with plenty of voice actors. A lot of them were upset that the project that they had spent years working on was being released on an unknown channel with zero promotion, and then later they found out that there was a promo video that had been ready for months that was never posted. And it seemed like an outrage, these people have worked so hard and their work's being shoved off to the side. Now recently, there actually has been some kind of explanation for why this happened. I think KP talked about it in the mailbag video that went up recently.
What was the reason? You didn't tell us. You said to go to the mailbag video, and I'm telling you I've tried at least 10 times to watch that video all the way through, but I'm legitimately having trouble not throwing up. I tried really, really hard to find the reason, but I guess I kept skipping it by accident. I don't know. Didn't you guys watch the video? What was the reason she didn't post it?
And yes, I'm aware that Event has somewhat backed down from this remark, but logically, I'd like to know why this statement is wrong.
Maybe KP is the scum of the community, but I'm not going to believe anything with any certainty because an anonymous Twitter account in a horse news article said so.
What's more, why did you believe them when they apologized? I really want this answer. When I hit KP, I never claimed to be anonymous. You were more than aware of me. This is some premium, grade A quality bullshit, Midnight.
This is the part that people have the hardest time understanding. I am not defending KP. Calling out sensationalist bullshit is not defending KP. I'm merely saying that whatever real problems did exist were blown way out of proportion by trolls and should ideally have been resolved internally.
Should it? When the government wants to police itself internally, how does that go? When the church wants to police itself internally, how does that go? For someone trying to act so woke, you're being blissfully ignorant. The time has come and gone from 3 years ago for KP's situation to be handled internally. And after 3 years, what did Rachel do? A shoulder shrug?
I mean, is it really that hard to grasp a bit of nuance and not see everything in black and white? Or are we still too busy arguing about which rift is better this week to listen?
Listen, he says, Midnight Chimes, you've had ample opportunity to express these concerns, and if you want to tell me Limbo wasn't the right place, Luximus, who's not only one of KP's workers but one of her friends, has been allowed to express herself and how she feels on the matter. I'm a big fan of your work. If I've treated you like a pleb, in some ways, someplace, in time, I'd like to apologize. I'm probably doing it right now. Such was not my intent, except for right now. You might have a point somewhere in there, but you've argued in bad faith where I think you only have 2 or 3 good points in this whole video. Those being that the Secret Rift is smug, we are, and AnonKPLeaks was born out of trolls. It was. But people with legit complaints attach themselves to it quickly. Midnight, the United States president's climb to the White House started with trolls. Right now, the United States government is financially prosperous. I'll take trolls over bureaucracy any day. This is another reason why I'm busting my ass to get Dark Age back in the Secret Rift.
To listen. What I will say finally is while Lily Pete was right to withdraw her clarification, she should have gone a step further and never mentioned the rift to begin with. Sadly, it detracted from what should have been a poignant video, and since she has started talking about the rift again, it seems apparent that Lily does not even know what the rift is. I mean, you do realise there are a lot of decent creators residing in those rooms, including those you have covered before. It's sweeping condemnations like this which are the reasons people don't like you and don't take you seriously. And that's a great shame, because you clearly put an awful lot of thought into your videos. Snap Crackle Fizzlepop was an amazing piece of analysis, and honestly, I wish you'd just employ a little more tact, then others might appreciate that.
Ah, Midnight, you're breaking my heart. You're waiting for an old dog that's never gonna bark. I've talked to Pete. I've done so in Pete's Discord. It's his way or the highway. If the biggest member in Antifa told Jerry to shut up, he'd come out as a capitalist tomorrow. There is no polite way to contradict Jerry. If you think the Secret Rift is filled of smugness, and you're attaching yourself to Jerry's penis, son, I don't even know what to tell you about that. One more thing before we move on. Recently, Jerry made a Tumblr post asserting that Tumblr posts or other posts can be edited, and isn't going to be responding to those anymore, and that's true. So here's my counterpoint. Whether it be someone like Rhino Reno Mills from the commentary community, Crout & T from the skeptic community, or good old Jer from the Brony analysis community, people who need to be careful and protect and remove and hide what they think and what they say are not deserving of your trust. We all make mistakes, and the first step for moving forward in that matter is to come forward and admit you fucked up, and to start to set things right. Midnight, I keep the door open for Jerry every time I do one of these, to the point where it's a giant fucking meme at this point. It's a waste of time. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like a podcast to discuss this afterwards, my door is always open. You need merely ask. This is Quillstroke, she's my ex. She, in part, has been part of the fan project called Pony Watch. It's been going for, I think, at least a year. And here's the drama. This is Painted Patience. She's a cool person. She had to pick up a heavy workload IRL in real life that involved 10 to 12 hour workdays, and chose to bow out of Pony Watch. Quillstroke dragged her back into the project twice. Now, you might suggest Quill really just wanted to see the project done, and that's what I thought at first. But then I talked to Painted, who bankrolled the art for the project about 90% or so. So Painted's involvement is more or less the billfold. So I can't begin to imagine why she would be obligated if she wanted out. After the second time she was added and removed, Quillstroke sent her boyfriend, Ebek, because Painted Patience blocked her. For those of you who don't know, Ebek is a big money spender. He's a whale on Patreon for bronies. I've personally received money from Ebek, so is Josh Scorcher, so is Jerry Pete, so is Toon Critic. Toon Critic really likes money. From myself, to Jerry, to Josh, to Toon, no longer find that Ebek's money, that's usually quite substantial, I've noticed that it can be as high as $50 a month, isn't worth dealing with him. This is the same person Quillstroke sent out to harass Painted Patience. In the past, I've talked about how Bayfish sent out a dangerously, mentally diagnosed, unstable man to harass people to get what she wants. Conversely, when Quillstroke needs something done, she sends her enforcer, Ebek. Recently, Ebek, for whatever reason, decided to contact my girlfriend Buttons, blind Skywatcher style, and tell her to break up with me. Now, I've never been the biggest Ebek fan ever, but when I ceased to date Quill, I thought, hey, if he makes her happy, it's none of my business anymore. On the other hand, I admire Quill's dedication to stand by her man. I appreciate the fact. I appreciate that work has been hard on you, Quill, but this is not the fault of your friends. And the delicate balance in standing with the person that you love versus your friends without alienating them, I understand can be very trying. You have blown that second front. Again, it's not my place to tell you who you should and shouldn't date, but you've become a pushy asshole in regards to many of your friends, many of my friends. Not to mention you told my girlfriend that when this was all over, she would be alone. If you keep that up, you're going to be the one who's alone at the end of this matter, Quill. You're the same person who's repeatedly, might I remind you, your big money spending boyfriend wasn't even able to keep you from being evicted from your apartment Meanwhile, while he was sucking up to bronies.